All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, the confusion and hopelessness of the people of this country continue to worsen as a result of the failure of the TINUBU administration. In my locality alone, we recorded 3 cases of burglary just last night. Breaking into people's houses and compounds is a phenomenon that had all but gone into extinction in this part of town. But the poverty under TINUBU has revived it. Farmers in Kwara and Kogi states came out to complain that they moved their farming activities closer to their homes because of the incessant Fulani attacks in the forests. Now, the hungry people in their communities have resorted to stealing their farm produce even before they get to harvest. So the situation is just a total mess. Weeks ago, I began saying that what is happening in Nigeria now is deliberate. I said there is a deliberate plot to totally bring the citizens of this country to their knees. And yes, I began saying weeks ago that some foreign organizations, countries, and powers want to completely own Nigeria. And for that to be possible, they have to first defeat the people of this country completely. And they are using TINUBU and the APC to achieve that. They will turn Nigeria to their company, and TINUBU and APC chiefs will be major shareholders along with them. And this sounds like a weird conspiracy theory, I know, but this is what I see happening. And few hours ago, 2 major updates dropped from the World Bank's newly released NDR that buttress my point. We saw the relationship between Burkina Faso, Mali, and France recently, where the resources of these African countries were directly used to finance the budgets of France. So many things in France were literally paid for using resources from these African countries. That is what these powers want to achieve with Nigeria. And the first step to achieving that is reducing the citizens to beggars, stripping them of every ounce of dignity left in them. These 2 updates from the World Bank's NDR show that that is the level of disaster that TINUBU and APC have been directed to take Nigerians to reduce the people to beggars. Before I show you these updates and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this disgraceful interview by Oji Zokalu. See the video.
A long way, because most of the people think they need to make money for the election. In my minority opinion, I don't know majority opinion, in my minority opinion, I think most politicians are always looking forward for the next election.
And that's why there is a very popular saying from a popular motivational speaker who said, the politician look forward to the next election, but a leader look forward to the next generation, how to empower the next generation. But that perhaps is the missing, the gap between what has become our problem in this country, where there are a lot of people who believe that we've not really had the kind of leaders that we should have in this country. But Senator, are you proud of what your party is delivering to Nigerians today?
Yes and no, because my party is very unlucky. My party have done very well in things they can do in the indices of economies and all the rest.
Under TINUBU or under Buhari? Because that's another kettle of fish.
Let me be honest with you. Under every leader, God creates leaders for a purpose. Every leader has a purpose God has created him. God do not bring leaders just for this.
But the leadership under Buhari seems to have destroyed our economy.
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to discuss that.
But that's the reality.
No,
our economy tanked under that government.
I'm not going to discuss that.
There are those who believe that we were 20 years backward under that government.
I'm not
a party that you are a prominent figure
listen
in.
to me. I am not going to discuss President Mohamed Buhari here.
Why?
Because it's not the right thing to do. He has gone. Let us look at the future.
Well, how do we learn when we don't know what the issue is?
We can't discuss it here. That is, it's not here we learn.
But the question is that if
you were here when it happened,
if the economy under Buhari was a disaster, should we told that lie. And this government has said that they will continue from where Buhari stopped.
No. That is where the difficulty comes. The government are not continuing from where Buhari stopped. They are trying to reform the economy. They are trying to bring back the economy where it's supposed to be. But it's bringing hardship to our people. The president himself knows that Nigerians are suffering. The president knows that Nigerians are hungry. The president knows he's a street person. He knows the street very well. The president some nights use his car to go around and know what is happening in Abuja here. People
really?
Yes, of course.
Are you aware of it, that he moves around the city?
Sure. The president goes around the city, visits and go around.
I hope it wasn't during when the kidnap and issues were happening in Abuja.
Well, whether they kidnap or not, the president goes around with one or two cars and see what is happening. It's not a president that's locked up in a room. It's not a president that doesn't know what is. He knows. But this president is bad. He's very courageous on his own.
God will punish all of you who keep saying TINUBU is courageous. I feel so ashamed for Ojuzo Kalu for all the rubbish he spilled in that video. TINUBU knows that Nigerians are suffering, and what has he done about it other than to worsen the plight of Nigerians? He said he drives around the city to ascertain how much the people are suffering. So the economic indices don't show him that people are suffering. It is until he drives around the city. The inflation rate does not show him. The out-of-school children numbers does not show him. These APC people are just unbelievably dumb. I mean, I know that Ojuzo Kalu was lying there, but even that lie is so dumb. What kind of lie is that? And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here says, "Damn, this man is empty upstairs." So TINUBU moving with one car within shows he sympathizes with hungry Nigerians. I don't understand. You go around, let's assume that he goes around. You go around and you see people suffering. Then you return to your office and you increase taxes. And this tweet here by Kalu says, "The chief among liars. Even TINUBU will be like me, move around with one or two cars." That is it. A very dumb and unnecessary lie. And this tweet here by Uche Okoro says, "TINUBU's curfew reading poverty-stricken Nigeria is a far cry from the prosperous nation he promised. Kalu's desperate spin can't mask the crushing failures of this administration. Instead of sneaking around like a thief in the night, perhaps TINUBU should try having an honest conversation about his policies that have led to skyrocketing inflation, rampant insecurity, and dying industries. The pulse of the citizens is abundantly clear, and it is one of outrage and despair." That is it. And this tweet here by Bayo says, "I wonder how some of these so-called political leaders get to where they are. Just imagine what he was saying. What does moving around at night have to do with the government's commitment to improving the country's situation? Instead of accepting their failure, he is defending it. They will never accept. Bunch of cursed individuals." And this tweet here by Deck says, "A liar. The level of sycophancy in the National Assembly is unprecedented and disgusting. Since TINUBU grabbed power by crook, he has never moved around, let alone moving with one car or two." That is it. Was a very big lie from Ojuzo Kalu. Now, let us look at those updates from the newly released Nigeria Development Report by the World Bank. These two updates will prove to you that these powerful international bodies are working hand in hand with TINUBU and the APC to completely finish the citizens of this country. They want to reduce the citizens to nothing so that Nigeria can be free for them to take over. The first update was the World Bank stating the impact of TINUBU's policies on Nigerians. Look at how the papers reported it. 129 million Nigerians now poor as 14 million more citizens fall into poverty in the last 1 year under TINUBU. World Bank. Data released by the World Bank has shown that over 129 million Nigerians are currently trapped in poverty. The World Bank stated this in its newly released Nigeria Development Update Report. According to the Global Bank, increase in headline inflation has forced millions of Nigerians into hunger. This development means that the official percentage of poor Nigerians jumped from 40.1% in 2018 to 56% in 2024. It said, with growth proving too slow to outpace inflation, poverty has risen sharply. Since 2018, the share of Nigerians living below the national poverty line is estimated to have risen sharply from 40.1% to 56.0%. Combined with population growth, this means that some 120 million Nigerians are living in poverty. This stark increase partly reflects Nigeria's beleaguered growth record. Real GDP per capita has not recovered to the level it was at prior to the oil price-induced recession in 2016. The Apex Bank also noted that being employed does not guarantee not being poor in Nigeria. Being employed, however, is no guarantee of being able to escape poverty. Many jobs are not productive and therefore remunerative enough to afford a life beyond poverty, the report said. Economic insecurity has deepened and broadened insecurity in the country, it also noted. It said multiple shocks in a context of high economic insecurity have deepened and broadened poverty, with over 115 million Nigerians estimated to have been poor in 2023. Since 2018-2019, and additionally nearly 35 million people have fallen into poverty, so that more than half of Nigerians, 51.1% of the population in 2023, are now estimated to live in poverty. The World Bank noted that there was an increase from 115 million in 2023 to 129 million in 2024, which means that 14 million Nigerians have become poorer this year. Many Nigerians have been lamenting more hardship under TINUBU since he came into Aso Rock on the May 29, 2023, following the removal of fuel subsidy and flotation of the foreign exchange. You heard that. That was part of the World Bank's newly released Nigeria Development Update report. They began their analysis from as far back as 2016, and they clearly pointed out that the nation has been deteriorating and retrogressing since then. And one would expect that the body would encourage the government of the day to do things differently. Because if at least 14 million people have fallen into poverty in 1 year, then that's a disaster by every standard. Then you need to begin to review those things that you are doing, because who knows what is going to happen in 2-3 years. The optics are so negative. But the World Bank shocked the world by asking TINUBU to continue with his policies, to intensify his policies. Those same policies that have seen 14 million people fall into poverty, they said he should continue, to the shock of the world. Look at how the papers reported it. World Bank warns TINUBU government not to reverse fuel subsidy removal, claims it would spell doom for Nigerians, reporters. The World Bank has issued a stern warning to Bola Tinubu-led Nigerian government, urging it not to reverse ongoing economic reforms that could have adverse effects on the nation's future. The call comes in light of policy changes introduced by the Tinubu administration, including the removal of fuel subsidies and the abolition of multiple foreign exchange systems. During the launch of the Nigeria Development Update NDU report in Abuja on Thursday, World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Dr. Ndiame Diop, acknowledged that while these reforms may impose immediate hardship on citizens, they are essential for the country's long-term economic stability. Since the removal of the fuel subsidy, the price of petrol has surged from 198 naira to over 1,000 naira per litre. Simultaneously, the naira's value has plummeted, trading above 1,700 naira against the dollar in the parallel market, compared to below 600 naira prior to the reforms. Despite the federal government's defense of these policies, many Nigerians have expressed concerns about the escalating costs and their impact on daily life. However, Diop cautioned that reversing these reforms would be detrimental and would spell doom for Nigeria. Similarly, Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to maintaining its reform agenda. Any effort that is not sustained will be a waste. Alongside the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, we've been discussing how to stay on track, combat inflation, and ensure we move in the right direction. You heard that. And at this point, we need no soothsayer to tell us that TINUBU is working with these foreign organizations to finish Nigerians. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet by Dimeji Salako says, World Bank, IMF, Africa are the biggest enemies of Africa. Unfortunately, our leaders are puppets in their hands until we rise up to say no ourselves to all these neoliberal policies. Nothing will change. Hashtag revolution now. That is it. Only Africans can rescue themselves from these people. The resources in Africa are too numerous. And these guys have come, they have seen these resources. So if we continue to, to wallow in disunity, I will not blame them if they keep coming to our countries to plunder these resources. Why can't we put ourselves together for Christ's sakes? And this tweet by Oluwatosin says, how will America get free access to our natural resources if we aren't impoverished? The Japa syndrome is so that they can afford cheap labor, taking in our best and bright minds. Our union with the Europeans will always yield poverty for Nigerians. That is one other way to look at it. Apart from plundering our resources to develop their land, the poverty of our nations will help them to also take away our best hands. We have seen that in the health sector. If 10 doctors graduate in Nigeria today, 7 to 8 or 9 of them already have their sites abroad. They don't want to be here. And it is only going to get worse. And David Alumona here says, it be like saying a World Bank, they rule Nigeria currently. And Mr. Mescafor replied, he said, every hotel on the island literally charges in US dollars. I can't even fathom why that is. Of course we can't. And gradually, they will just be taking over. You might think it is not possible, but it will unfold before our very eyes. And only the people can stop it. And Jeremiah Adetunji here says, what is the World Bank's position on crude oil theft? They will not talk about that one. They know that that is one of the major problems of this country. But I'm telling you, they are the ones even aiding these people to steal the crude. After all, who are the people that mine this crude? Is it not white people that are majorly in charge of this mining? They are working with these political elites to continue to impoverish Nigerians. And when they talk about these guys, taking over a country, so many Nigerians don't know the implication of it. You might not see it in the next 5, 10, 15 years. It is those who are like 2, 3, 4, 5 years now that will feel it. By the time they will be in their 30s, it will now be full blown. Check out other African countries. You will see them living like slaves, destitute. A human being is not a slave. He is living in his house with his wife and children. But when you look at him, even from his skin alone, you can tell that this guy is not a normal human being because of how poverty has eaten deep into his system. Then in that same country, you will realize that they have gold. In that same country, you realize that they have bitumen. They even have crude oil. You see that this country is heavily endowed. Why are the citizens so poor? Why are they eating things that in a place like Nigeria we dump in the bins? It is because those resources have been taken over. Then you see one man there. He has been in office for 20 years, 30 years. They cannot remove him. He is doing the bidding of the Europeans. That is the same thing these people are trying to reenact in this country. It happens gradually. They don't do it immediately. Slowly, they go to enter on, they go to enter on, they go to enter on until you are not able to pull them out again. That is what they are trying to do. This one is even better for them than trying to colonize a country. They don't need to come out straight. From the back, they go just they chop the country. This is what they do to Africa. And it is so shameful that they use Africans to perpetuate this evil in this case, they are using the APC. And that was why when Peter Obi was speaking, he said, why do I have to go to the UK if I'm running for the office of the president in Nigeria? Why do I have to go and explain myself to them? It doesn't make any sense. This is my country. And that is why we are sounding it to Nigerians that this APC, they have been compromised. They have totally sold out. For Nigerians to have their country back, they must come together and kick these guys out. Nobody's going to do it for us. Some people will be tagging America, tagging the UK to come and help. They will not come and help because they are also benefiting from the rot in this country. If Nigerians want to have a country, we must first unite. Put our foot down that all this nonsense cannot continue in a land that belongs to all of us. And when we do so, we will easily take our country back. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because na because of una. Na I dey here, so don't go away.